At number 10, we have the spinner style belt, introduced by John Cena in April of 2005 and was the design till February 18th of 2013, a grand total of almost 8 years, making it the second longest reigning version of the title, having been held by John Cena 10 times, the Rated R superstar Edge 4 times, Rob Van Dam once, the Viper Randy Orton 6 times, the Game Triple H 3 times, Jeff Hardy once, the Animal Batista twice, the Celtic Warrior Sheamus twice, The Miz once, CM Punk twice. CM Punk also holds the distinction of having the longest title run, a reign lasting 434 days. Rey Mysterio held this version of the championship once. Alberto Del Rio held it twice. And lastly, the title was won by The Rock, who retired it before introducing a new championship belt, often referred to as the OCC style belt, as it was designed partially by the people at Orange County Choppers. This belt, the spinner belt, makes the list due to its tenure and popularity, despite the fact that it resembles a cheap, tacky children's toy. At number 9, we have the Rated R spinner belt, a custom belt created by Edge and debuted during his second title reign in July of 2006. This version was only worn by Edge. It was won by Cena in September of 2006 and promptly changed back to the regular spinner belt. This title was a unique attempt to make Cena's toy belt look cool. At number 8, we have the current style of WWE Championship, introduced on August the 18th of 2014 by Brock Lesnar. It has been the design for going on 4 years. It has been held by Brock Lesnar once, Seth Rollins twice, Roman Reigns 3 times, Sheamus once, Triple H once, Dean Ambrose once, AJ Styles twice, John Cena once, Bray Wyatt once, Randy Orton once, and Jinder Mahal once. This title, while an improvement over the spinner belt, is still following the recent trend of championship belts looking like children's toys. At number 7, we have what is often referred to as the OCC-style championship, so named because it was partially designed by Orange County Choppers. This was introduced by The Rock on February the 18th in 2013. It was the championship design up till August 18th, 2014, when Brock debuted our current style. The OCC style belt was active for just 18 months. In that time, it was held by The Rock once, John Cena twice, Daniel Bryan 3 times, Randy Orton twice, and lastly, by Brock Lesnar once. This championship gets points for doing away with the spinner belt, but it was still a gaudy looking championship. At number 6, we have the original WWF Championship, held by the inaugural champion Buddy Rogers in 1963, and would remain largely unchanged aside from minor details until 1971, when Pedro Morales became champion. All in all, this title was used for roughly 8 years and is the original WWE Championship. It has been held by Buddy Rogers, Bruno Sammartino, Ivan Koloff, and Pedro Morales. This title is a relic of yesteryear, and I do not mean that as an insult. There is something very beautiful in the simplicity of this championship belt. At number 5, we have the WWF Championship of 1986, often referred to as the Hogan 86. So aptly named because Hulk Hogan was the only one to wear it. This belt was introduced in 1986 by Hulk Hogan. It ran until the introduction of the Winged Eagle belt in 1988, and as I before said, was only worn by Hulk Hogan. There was once a version of this belt created for Andre the Giant. It was created much larger than the version that was used for Hogan. But the title was never used on television. It was never used at all. They decided not to put the belt on Andre until a few years later. At number 4, we have the undisputed WWE Championship. Introduced by Triple H on April 1st, 2002, this belt ran until April of 2005, when it was replaced with the spinner belt by John Cena. This version was held by Triple H once, Hollywood Hulk Hogan once, The Undertaker once, The Rock once, Brock Lesnar 3 times, The Big Show once, Kurt Angle twice. Eddie Guerrero once. JBL once. And lastly, by John Cena once, who then retired it. While far from the most prestigious design, it was the last design of merit, the last to actually look like a championship rather than a prize from a Cracker Jack box. At number 3, we have the WWE Championship of the Attitude Era, often referred to as the Big Eagle Belt or the Attitude Belt. It was debuted in 1998 by Stone Cold Steve Austin and remained the design until April 1st of 2002, when Triple H debuted the Undisputed Championship. This design ran for about 4 years and was held by Stone Cold Steve Austin 6 times. It was held by Kane once. It was held by The Rock 6 times. Mankind 3 times. The Undertaker once. Vince McMahon once. The Big Show once. Kurt Angle twice. And lastly, by Chris Jericho once. This design was a perfectly good title design. Would be ranked higher if it were not such a short-lived title belt. At number 2 is the Smoking Skull Championship belt. This was a custom belt for Stone Cold Steve Austin, introduced by Austin in the summer of '98 during his second title reign. This title was only officially worn by Stone Cold Steve Austin, but was worn by The Rock when he stole it. This title, while short-lived as many custom belts are, ranks number 2 due to the immense popularity of this belt and the man who wore it. Not to mention, it is a badass-looking title. At number 1, we have the Winged Eagle Championship belt, introduced in 1988 by Hulk Hogan. It ran until replaced with the Big Eagle belt by Stone Cold Steve Austin in 1998. This belt ran 10 years and is the longest reigning title design. Held by Hulk Hogan 5 times. Held by Andre the Giant once. Held by Macho Man Randy Savage twice. Held by the Ultimate Warrior once. Held by Sergeant Slaughter once. Held by The Undertaker twice. Held by Ric Flair twice. Held by Bret Hart 5 times. Held by Yokozuna twice. Held by Bob Backlund once. Held by Diesel once. held by the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels 3 times, held by Psycho Sid twice, and lastly, held by Stone Cold Steve Austin once after his defeat of Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14. This is, to me, the most prestigious design. It ran for the longest time and was held by some of the greatest that have ever laced a pair of boots. Its simplicity and presence demands respect. Today's belt designers could learn a thing or two by looking to the past.